Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream for what's today? 18th of November. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am going to do several things. I actually have an agenda today. So let me close that laptop, focus in on you. I've been working on a lot of things for the live stream, including, hopefully, I was just able to tweet. We'll see if that is the case. I fixed that automation. I know that many of you have been concerned about the ongoing struggles of my tweeting, and it looks like there are still struggles. I tried to set up an IFTTT applet to get around the fact that I'm not logged into Twitter anymore. And you can use IFTTT with your Stream Deck, right? There's like a custom action. And so I set that up, but I didn't test it because I set it up like 10 minutes ago and I didn't want to tweet that I'm live when I'm not live. So it looks like it didn't work, which means I'll have to do the old manual way of tweeting from my phone or somewhere else. So let me do that real quick. I did smartly set up a text expander snippet so that I don't have to type the same thing every time. So at least there's that. Okay, so that's out of the way. An amazing failure. You might also notice that I have some new artwork here. I was messing around. So I've been watching other people's live streams on Twitch, and there are a few things that I've been trying to emulate because I think that there are some people who are doing really, really great work over on their own live streams. So I was excited to give that a go. One was, having some good cover artwork. I think that this is pretty good because it frames me nicely. It has the URL, and then it has kind of the stuff that I focus on this channel for the live streams, which I'm still trying to find my sea legs a little bit. But I think I have a good plan here. So that there's that. The other thing is I want to. So let me kind of show you what I have going on here, and how that's all working. So first of all, I've got. Let me see if I can position this well enough to show you. I really doesn't look that good. But that's my Rodecaster Pro. And so I have a lot of things being piped into that. But one thing that I took away through something that's called a mix minus is the audio, the USB audio that's piping through my computer. So maybe I can bring it up here on the screen, but basically what a mix minus does is it takes everything that's not my voice and pipe and kind of removes it from the audio going to the computer, right? So that way, if I'm on a call, for example, and my Rodecaster Pro is my main form of piping all of the audio in and out of my computer. So all of that is being shown through the, you can basically hear if I'm listening to music or something like that, which means that sometimes guests will be able to hear themselves as well. So what I ended up doing was there's something called a mix minus, so I could take that away on the Rodecaster Pro. And I decided today that I wanted to have music on the stream, just like low in the background kind of music so that it's not just me talking. But I don't think I can because of that mix minus. So if I do this, and of course, That didn't, of course that didn't work. So let me, oh, there we go. If I bring up the sound a little bit in Spotify. So I can hear music through my headphones that I don't think you can hear on the channel. And if you can, let me know in the comments. But that's another thing that I want to get sorted out. And I know that there's a way. I mean, not everybody has a Rodecaster Pro, right, who's using Ecamm Live. So I'm sure that there is a way for me to figure this out. But I'm not there yet. I haven't played around with it enough, but that's kind of my next step. I'm kind of slowly evolving the live stream to make it better for you and for me. This is something that I want to do longer term. So I know that somebody tuned in last week and they mentioned that like my levels were low on the shotgun mic, and they were totally right. I didn't have enough gain going into this microphone. So that was something else. I still have a lot of sibilance on this microphone too. That hard S sound. So I do want to, I want to fix that a little bit, make those adjustments, but it hasn't seemed to be, it seems to be a bigger problem in my monitors than it does on the live stream for whatever reason. So thanks to those who are tuning in now. Again, if you can hear low background music, let me know, because then my problem is solved. But looking at the sound levels here, it looks like you probably can't, which is a bummer. So maybe there's something here. Okay, so what I can do is I can broadcast system audio. Should I do this right on the stream? I probably can't, yeah. I would have to kill the stream. I probably could, let's see. I probably could remove the mix minus. I would just have to remember to do that. Put it back later. If I can remember how to do that. Yeah. Okay, so I turned off the mix minus. And it looks like the audio is now being piped in. Let me know. This is royalty-free music that I'm streaming on Spotify. So it's called gaming music. And that was one of the reasons it took me so long to figure out what was going on. Or it took me so long to kind of figure out like how to do this. And that's because I didn't want to just play any old music. Because I didn't want to, get like a DCMA for inadvertently playing music I don't have license to play. So that's pretty low. If it's too loud, again, let me know in the comments. I got the comments up here. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the new iPhone Pro Max came out, and I'm really excited about it. I'm using it currently as my secondary camera, so you can see me in the camera. But after using it for nearly a week, 5 days, I guess is not nearly a week, I like it. It feels really nice. The camera is really good. I sent some first impressions to my mailing list, but it does everything that I want it to do as the new iPhone, right? So it feels really good. The camera is much better, and something that surprised me a little bit was the fact that it's a lot bigger than I expected. I knew it would be bigger, but I didn't expect it to be a lot bigger. And I like it. It's easier to type on. The video is really nice. The audio is really good. So all in all, I'm really happy with that purchase. I also picked up the HomePod Mini, which you can see right there in the corner. I unboxed it on my Instagram. If you want to check that out. I haven't really dug deep into it yet, but I tweeted during the event, the iPhone event, that if the HomePod Mini was going to be less than $100, I was going to buy one. And I did, and it's tiny, and I like it. So I'm gonna put it through the ringer, put it through its paces. But I imagine that I will be getting at least one more, maybe two more for my house. So those are the technology stories I wanted to cover, or at least the quick technology reviews, I should say. The other thing I wanted to point out was I am currently using my iPhone for an overhead camera. If you tuned into the live stream 2 weeks ago, you'll know that I didn't quite have it right. There were a few things that I didn't like about the overhead situation. One was that it was in portrait mode on a widescreen stream. So I did not like that, obviously. But this is, I think, a lot better. I found an app called Shoot, which basically just turns your iPhone into a webcam. And I want to use it for overhead camera purposes. Now, this is currently hooked up to, it's being held in place by a switch pod. So the switch pod is holding it above my keyboard. I'll also be able to put like pen and paper here if I decide to do stuff like that. But the overhead cam really is going to be for like unboxing stuff, or if I'm sketching something. I'm a bit of a pen nerd, so like if people want to see my pen collection, like that'll be good. I also picked up a 10-foot lightning cable so that I could have some slack, because I have a really tall tripod that I like to use as well. And I was thinking that the 10-foot tripod would be the thing, keep the phone off my desk, kind of like above my head, and then use it that way with maybe like the zoom. But it was just kind of in the way. I didn't really like it that much. So the switch pod overhead camera situation is working out better for me. If you have any recommendations, let me know. I'm definitely down for that. I could probably get a boom arm, like my desk needs another arm. But that's my situation for now. Okay, so let's get into, as I try to add more structure to these live streams. And I know that maybe structure is not necessarily the thing that people are always looking for in a live stream. I'm still trying to figure it out. So if you have feedback or anything, let me know, and I am happy to oblige. But there are a couple of stories that I wanted to cover. So the first one is actually one I wrote. So let me bring those up, because there's been a lot of podcasting news. There's been a lot of WordPress news. I don't necessarily want to touch on the WordPress news that's been making the rounds lately, but I guess if somebody comments and is like, what do you think? I will offer my opinion. Okay, let's see. The first story, the first story is one that I wrote. So let me share my Safari window here. Bring my face in. And this is something that was published on Torque magazine by WP Engine today. It's called How Virtual Events Are Changing the WordPress Event Landscape. I really feel like this is pretty good writing on my part. I was really proud of this article, but I talk about kind of how virtual events have affected the WordPress space and kind of their history, right? Because they're not really new. They're not new because of the pandemic. I spoke at my first virtual event for WordPress in I think 2014 or 2013, something like that. I said 2014 here in this article. It might have been 2013 though. And then, WordSesh and WooSesh have been going on for a few years now. WordSesh has been around in some way, shape, or form for, again, many years. I spoke at the first one in 2013. And I remember because my wife and I were, my then girlfriend and I were celebrating our first dating anniversary, and we were in the city, and they put me at they put me at a reasonable slot, but we had tickets to see Wicked. And so I asked them to put me at like a super early slot in the morning so that I could do it. So I did the presentation from a hotel room in New York City, and after having a pretty late night from going to see Wicked and like meeting the cast and stuff. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, so this article covers kind of what the WordPress community response has been to having fewer in-person WordCamps, from mega meetups to the Learn WordPress platform, and of course going virtual and the benefits of going virtual, right? A big benefit is the cross-pollination. I was able to talk at the Carlsbad WordPress meetup. It was my first California event. I wouldn't have been able to do that under normal circumstances without flying out there. So that's really good. But I talk about the drawbacks, missing the hallway, track and things like that. So check the article out. I think it's really good. And I think as we, in the United States, but worldwide, we're seeing a big uptick in cases for COVID. So I think we're kind of in this situation until we have a good vaccine that's distributed and herd immunity, which herd immunity gets like a bad rap because people think it's just, well, let everybody get sick. Like, it's been used wrong. But herd immunity is some number of people are vaccinated. I think somebody at Alphabet, or the Google parent company, ran the numbers, and it's like if like 80% is vaccinated or has already been exposed to the virus, there's herd immunity. So until we're at a point where most people are not at risk of getting the virus, we're going to keep seeing these virtual events. The WordPress Foundation has already announced that the flagship WordCamps are not happening in person in 2021 anyway. So there's that. And then the other big story I wanted to cover was Spotify acquiring podcast hosting company Megaphone for $235 million. That's about, I think that's like 20 Joe Rogans or something like that. So I wanted to point this out because Spotify has been making big gains in the podcast space for the last 2 years. They bought Anchor, they bought Gimlet, they got exclusive rights to the Joe Rogan Experience, and now they're buying Megaphone, which is headlined here as a podcast hosting company, but they also do dynamic ad insertion. So they insert ads into podcasts that want to do that. And that's probably going to be a primary monetization method for them over on Anchor, right? Because Anchor is totally free. So if they're inserting ads into free shows where they get the money and maybe they give the host 30%, Megaphone is well positioned for that. Another thing that I read around podcasting and Spotify recently is that Apple is now less than 50% of podcast listens, which is that is new this year, right? Because the last numbers I looked at, which were definitely in 2020, still said that Apple Podcasts is 60%. Now it's like, I think it's 49 or 48% to Apple, and I think around 30% for Spotify, which is huge. So I think this is important if you're interested in the podcasting space. If you're interested in getting into the podcasting space, you should definitely consider doing it now, because I really think like podcasting has been growing a lot since like 2015. Serial and Lore and Criminal and a couple of other shows really made it popular, and then of course Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. But it's probably about to explode. Like, I think that 2021 is going to be the year of podcasting. So that is something that I think is going to be really interesting moving forward. So there was the Spotify story. If you have any stories that you are interested in me covering, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. Because that's what I'm thinking about. And again, I would love your feedback. I'm thinking about making this kind of like a current events tutorial stream where, cause I mean, when I'm like banging around a new plugin or whatever, it doesn't take very long, and maybe that's what people like. But you know, I was going on Twitch, and you know, some people are there streaming for 2 hours, but they're doing something very specific. Maybe they're not even talking a lot, you know, which I thought was pretty interesting. You know, maybe they're just doing something. So, you know, I think that I'm trying to find my sea legs a little bit. So let's see. Over on Twitter, Andrew Lima said that Humble just dropped a royalty-free music bundle. So I will definitely check that out. Humble Bundle is pretty interesting. And again, like this, you know, this playlist is not bad. It's just kind of ambiance music, right? It's like just music to set the mood while if I'm doing something on a website and I'm like trying to figure out and I'm not talking, you don't need silence and like the sound of my breath. So that's why I want music. Okay. So let's talk about casabona.org. When I last left you, I was still sketching out casabona.org. Since then, I decided that I wanted to launch the website as soon as possible, and there were a few reasons for that. I hired a PR specialist, right? I'm trying to grow my audience in a way that I haven't been able to crack. I'm pretty well known in the WordPress space. I want to expand beyond the WordPress space and grow my audience and find good, qualified leads for my podcasting services. And so I'm trying to position myself as more of a podcaster than a developer at this point, though straddling that line is something I'm trying to do, right? I've been a developer for 20 years and I don't want to just lose those skills. Plus, my online courses are still all pretty heavily focused on making websites, particularly with WordPress. So I don't want to throw that away, but I want to try to find the right balance. I wanted to find somebody who understands this stuff better than me, right? It's hard to read the label from inside the bottle sort of thing. And so I hired somebody named Brittany Lynn. She is amazing. I heard her on the Smart Passive Income podcast, but I met with her and her team last week, and we had a great call. She gave me really good guidance. I have a bunch of content now ready to go for it. And part of the process is reaching out to a bunch of podcasters, potential, I should say that my main avenue for getting my name out there more is going to be with podcasting. And so I wanted to focus my website on that. I've been tweaking it a lot here and there and adding stuff, and maybe I'll just be a blog. I wanted to kind of copy 6 Colors, which, let me bring that up. I really like the 6 Colors website. But 6 Colors is a publication, right? Like they do news, mostly Apple news, hence the name 6 Colors, and podcasts, right? And I am but one man who usually gets a new post on the site 3 to 4 out of 5 weekdays, right? I don't have multiple stories per day like 6 Colors does, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to focus the entire homepage on just whatever content I'm creating. So I decided I was going to change it up, and I sketched out a potential design 2 streams ago, and then I was thinking about going with Astra Pro. I'm a big fan of Astra Pro. I used it on casabona.org. I'm using it over at Creator Courses. I have a video dropping on this channel tomorrow trying out their header and footer stuff, their new header and footer builder. But I'm also a bad designer. Like I can put fonts together, but not even really that well. I like just discovered a really good font that I think I'm going to lean into a lot. I really like it. It's called gosh, I can't even remember what it's called. I think it's called Francisco 1. But let's double check that. It's this font right here. So if I inspect element, and then in the computed properties, I'll be able to find it. Francois 1, I'm going to say. I'll drop the name here in the chat. I'm going to say Francois 1, right? It's probably not Francois. If somebody wants to correct me on that, let me know. So I just found that, but I figured I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time designing a site when I know that there are better designed themes out there, and I really wanted to focus on the content. So I decided to go with a StudioPress theme, and the one I went with was Authority Pro. It had basically the sections I wanted to highlight from my sketch. It focused, as you can imagine, on the site owner's authority. So it gave me a good skeleton for where to put content. I did do some customization, and we'll get into that in a minute. But this is mostly how they set it up, right? So there's one big section, and then a testimonial, another section, a testimonial, another section, and then I expanded a little bit here. And then there's more about me, and then there's the blog. And I did some customization here too. But before we dive into that, I want to just kind of talk about the content plan here. So I wanted a big pull quote in the beginning to catch people's eyes. And my friend Maddie Osman over at the Blogsmith, she's great if you don't know her. She said, when I think of you, I think of two things: podcasting and WordPress, which is perfect. So I said, can I quote you on that? She said, yeah. The headshot, this is one that I took myself with a tripod and the iPhone and the Apple Watch. I like it. I don't love it. I'm getting some opinions from other people on what I could do. I wanted the microphone in this picture because I do have a wonderful headshot from somebody named Rebecca Berger. That was the speaker gift at WordCamp Philly a few years ago. And it's great, and I love it. But the first picture here, I wanted me on the microphone. So I'm messing around with that a little bit. I'm no photographer. I'm okay at framing shots, but I'm not like really good at it. But this is a recent, like 2 days ago, shot. So that's the one I went with for now. Then I have my bio. My bio was written primarily by Bridget Willard, and then the folks at Brittany Lynn dressed it up a little bit and added some more information to it, and I put it in the first person. Trust logos, and then I kind of start hitting the podcast stuff. And so I like the way that Authority Pro structured this, the rest of this content specifically, because I basically say, look, I know you're probably not just ready to give me money off the bat, so check out my free guide to launching your podcast, and then a testimonial. Then I say, are you more of a visual learner, right? If you don't want to just read a PDF and do it, I can show you how to do it with these courses. And then I move to the hands-on try my done-for-you podcasting service. So it's a nice little journey through get them in the door, get them interested in paid services, and then get them interested in my main service. Then there's more about me after my bio. So this is just like a stat sheet essentially. And then the blog, and I customized the blog a little bit, like I said. And then this, I have a video on the channel called Using Beaver Builder with Gutenberg. Beaver Builder has a really good subscription form module. It's a lot better than anything built into Gutenberg or the StudioPress, like the Genesis e-newsletter block, because it integrates with a lot more. including Convertkit, which is what I use. So I'm using a single Beaver Builder module on this mainly Gutenberg page. The other pages I really revamped were the Start Here page. This is all Gutenberg now. Here's that headshot from Rebecca Berger. So I mostly help people with podcasting. This is a custom highlight class. I also make websites, and then I'm a little obsessed with gear and home office stuff. So those are the three kind of things that I want to promote for someone who's just kind of getting to know me. I do podcasting, I make websites, and I really like gear. This is a little bit of a departure from the Beaver Builder driven page, but not too much. I revamped the About page a bit. So here's another photo from that shoot, quote unquote. And this is the full bio that they came up with. And then some pictures to let people, kind of understand me a little bit more and the things I enjoy. I high-fived Donald Faison once, that's true. And then a little bit about the blog. And then the last page that I'll show you, because I really revamped this, again, thanks to Brittany Lynn and her team, is my press and media page. So this was, first of all, it was really neglected. But because I'm doing a lot more outreach and I want to be featured in more places, I figured that I would take their advice. And so I added my bio for inquiries, and I set up a press email address. I added some logos for where I've been kind of featured. And then some examples of what I can talk about, and then a whole bunch of other stuff that I need to update today, right? Because I have a new guest post over on Torque. Then I have some photos that people can use, projects and logos. And so that was a bit of a revamp. On the back end, this is mostly Gutenberg driven. I wanted to use the tools that Authority Pro afforded me. So it is mostly Gutenberg, though I will take you into the customizer because I did add a bunch of CSS. So I added some CSS for rotating these images, like this one, and the book on the Start Here page. This big list up here, where are you? Oh, no, just kidding, it's below. This is a stylized list. I added some classes for adding padding to certain blocks, like the group block, or a group of blocks. That didn't include padding, so I added that. There's the stylized list. There's the highlight from the Start Here page. And then I added some custom styles for the blog because I am automatically pulling in podcast episodes from how I built it and YouTube videos. And I just want these to link to their original sources. So one thing I did was I changed the background highlight color, right? The regular blog posts are gray. And then YouTube is a semi-transparent version of the YouTube red. And my podcast is a semi-transparent version of the blue in my artwork. And then I added a little icon to the end saying that this is an external link. So, I do need to, I thought I fixed that, but, so, that's some customization that I made that I'm pretty happy with. It shows up here and it shows up on the actual blog page, so that people know immediately, like this is external. If I click on this, it takes me, I don't know what the customizer is going to do. Yeah, right. It just comes back, cause it takes you to the actual episode page. So, that's really the rundown for casabona.org. I really liked Authority Pro. I will say one more thing actually, and that is that I switched up some tools. So one is that I had I was using Astra Pro, and I had some custom layout stuff to display different opt-ins depending on the content you're viewing. So if you went to the blog, and this, I think this is in the automation category, you would see an automation opt-in, like get 5 free tools for automating or whatever. Since I'm trying to focus my offerings, I decided what I'm going to do is remove the Convertkit opt-in completely, mostly. I'll show you the one way I still have it. Because that does add some weight to the page. It's extra JavaScript. It's another HTTP request that has to be made. And then I have the opt-in here as a widget. So, and this is using the Beaver Builder widget as well. It's like, you can use blocks, like saved blocks, as widgets now, I guess, in WordPress, and so that's what I'm using for this. So it's a unified opt-in, and then I was using Opt-in Monster, but that's coming up for renewal, and for a few reasons. First of all, I was on like some crazy like $600 plan, and Opt-in Monster is just not worth $600 to me. It's good. It's really good. But I'm not using it to that potential. I don't need all of the tools that they offer. And the one thing I was using it for, Convertkit also has. So this is a Convertkit modal. I'll probably add some custom styles to rein this in so that it's not the full width of, or it's not like 50% of the window. I probably want a max width of like 600. But you know, this is fine. This is fine for me. It's a Convertkit form. It integrates directly with Convertkit, and I'm already paying for that. So, and kind of the other thing is, I was a little bit annoyed when I was trying to figure out how much Opt-in Monster was going to cost me, because they don't show you anywhere in your account. So like there are a few dark patterns there that I'm not a fan of that. You know, I think that it should be clear. If I say cancel, I shouldn't be prompted 100 times to not cancel. I should just cancel. So, you know, I don't like that either. But it was, I mean, it's mostly that Convertkit does the sole thing that I was using for Opt-in Monster. And in fact, the reason that I got Opt-in Monster was when Convertkit rolled out their redesign, they got rid of the modals. And I was like, how could you kill this feature? They're like, it's coming back, it's just not ready yet. And so I was annoyed about that. So I kind of rage bought Opt-in Monster. And then it's got to be less than a week later, Convertkit rolled those out. So then I was even more annoyed that I spent all this money on Opt-in Monster. But again, Opt-in Monster, I mean, it really is like the best tool for the job. So, but that's everything. There are a few improvements that I want to make over at casabona.org. Still, I want to improve the headshot. I want to play around with the styles for the external links and figure out a better strategy for that. And I want to add some better styling for the pop-up. And I know that there are other plugins, right? Like Pop-Up Maker is one, and it's really good. Ahoy from the makers of Pop-Up Maker also offer something like that. So, you know, I know there are other tools, but again, I'm not using like any of the extra stuff. And Convertkit works really well. As far as I know, Convertkit is not affected by ad blockers. That was another thing. Opt-in Monster is affected by ad blockers, and to be not affected by ad blockers, they want you to pay even more. So, so I'm happily using the Convertkit modals. And this gives me a little bit more kind of control over exactly where I'm going to put them to. So, not to mention, I use like Ninja Forms, and Ninja Forms has Convertkit integration. And there are other like Beaver Builder or Ultimate Add-ons for Beaver Builder has a pop-up tool. So I have all the tools that I need I don't feel like I need to pay another service. So that's that. And I think that's where I'm going to leave the live stream. There, I haven't seen any questions come in. So whether you're watching this live or watching it later, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you would be so kind as to like this video, subscribe to this channel, you'll get notifications, or at least it'll show up on your page when I'm going live again. I try to go live weekly. I am thinking about switching to Twitch because Twitch seemingly has better live stream tools, and then I will send this video to YouTube. But either way, like and subscribe. I put out at least one video a week. If you have any questions and you're watching this later, leave them in the comments and I will happily get them answered. But thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, get out there and build something.